Hello there. This is Gian Roberts, and today we're going to go live here. Just a moment. All right. Again, my name is Gian Roberts. I'm the author of Retire Younger, and in this video, we're going to go over the cash-on-cash return of our cash flow investments, and I have some legal information that I need to show you before I can present the material to you today. So stay tuned, and also at the end I'm going to give you a very special link to get more access to more information and to get a free digital copy of my book here, Retire Younger. So in this video I am going to present information to you, and I'm going to tell you right now not to act on the information. It's just for informational purposes, for educational purposes, and to show you what is possible with this type of investment. I'm not telling you to take any action on the material I'm going to share with you today. But we do, we invest and we manage. We're an investment and management group that manages LLCs that acquire properties and manages investment properties in emerging markets in all 50 states. No, I totally butchered that, but that's alright. So what we're an investment company, a management company that manages LLCs that then invest in real estate properties. This is not a sales video. This is not a solicitation. This is not an offer to purchase anything, okay? This is just free information that I'm putting out there, and it shows opportunities dealing with real estate investments. But I'm telling you right now not to take any action on what I'm sharing with you today. The people who invest with us have to qualify to be an investor, and there are certain requirements that we have for our investors. So if you want to know more information, I'm going to give you a special link at the end of this video, so stick around. Now leave any comments and questions you have below. Share this video with friends and family, and like it, share it, subscribe to our channel so that you can ask your questions and have them answered live here on the air. Alright, so if you see a video, I'll try to look at the previous video and answer the questions on the next video. If you want them answered live, I can do them live here on the air. So I'm going to look for comments in just a little bit. So leave your comments below, and I'll try your questions below, and I'll try to answer them live on the air. Alright, so structured cash flow, that's what we do. We do structured cash flows, and again, these are only for for investors that meet our qualifications. These do not have to be an accredited investor. We don't work with accredited investors. We work with non-accredited investors. So just know that going forward. Alright, so what we do is we're the management company, and we develop LLCs with our investors. The investor would then capitalize the LLC, and then we manage all the rest of the activities of the LLC. So what we do typically is in this fidget spinner model, and our asset is in the middle, and that stays stationary, and that's what secures the capital that we invest. So we have a capital investment of $80,000. We purchase real estate that's valued at $100,000, but usually it needs some type of repair, or but we purchase at a deep discount because we have several methods for doing that. So we will purchase it between $50,000 and $60,000, sometimes $70,000, depending on the property, but it has to have an after repaired value of $100,000 plus. Now we focus on the lower end of the market, so we find properties under $200,000 or less, so that we can do the next step, which is putting a lease option tenant in there. And so we do all that legwork, and we do the background check on our tenants to make sure that they're good qualified people as well. The reason for that is because 80% of the people out there don't qualify for a traditional mortgage, so we work with the 80% of the people who find the people who want to have the option to have home ownership without having to qualify for a traditional mortgage. All right, so basically we try to keep the lease payments under $1,000 a month. Sometimes they're a little bit more, sometimes they're a little bit less. But let's say the average lease payment was $1,000 a month. All right, so in 5 years, that's 60 payments. We would have $60,000 repaid to us, which would pay off the investment. So our annual return on cash return would be calculated like this: the cash that we have coming in, the cash flow that we have coming in before taxes, and the amount of the initial capital. So that's $12,000 a year. That's $1,000 a month times 12. It's $12,000 a year divided by the initial cash that we had coming in. That's a 15% return, cash on cash. Now, what happens if our investor stays in the investment for the long term, which is this is for retirement income. So most of our investors are investing for long term. So if they stayed in the investment for 5 years, that would pay back the cash invested into the property, and we would have equity in the property that we could cash out as well. So we would return. But our annual return would be $12,000 a year, which is 15% cash on cash return. So if they paid over 5 years, that would be $60,000 in payments, plus we'd have that equity in the property. Now, 5 years, we'll take the equity in the property and we can do a leverage and buy a second property. All right, or we can just use cash. If we just had cash in from the cash flow, we can just use the cash to purchase the second property, right? And then, so that property would have a child property, right? So it's the same capital. We just put $80,000 into the deal, but the cash flow paid for the second property. And so the second property then starts cash flowing, and so from years 5 to 10, we would have the first property paying $12,000 a year, and the second property paying $12,000 a year, which would be $24,000 of cash flow coming in every single year. Then year 10, we would then double that. So then we would end up with 4 properties, and they would all be cash flowing $12,000 a year, which is $48,000 a year of cash flow coming in. Some of that cash flow is going to go to pay off the purchase price of the 2 properties that we just purchased, right? So then we come to years 15, and then we double it again. We go from 4 to 8 properties. We have $96,000 a year coming in cash flow. Some of that cash flow goes to pay off the purchase price of the additional properties that we purchased, the 4 additional properties that we purchased. Then in year 20, we then double the 8 to 16, and then we have $192,000 coming in every single year in cash flow, and some of that goes to pay off the properties. So at the end, we'll have $1.6 million in hard assets that we have under management. So to calculate our total cash out value of our investment, we would then have to know the term in which we kept the capital in the investment. So if we kept the money in the investment for 5 years, we have $60,000 in return of cash flow capital, and then we would have $50,000 in equity, and we would typically sell the property for $100,000 to $110,000. So you take that plus the cash flow that you have already received minus the total investment, and that would give you the total of cash back for that period. So what I've done is I've calculated for 20 years, and that's what the bottom total is here. You can see what the cash out value would be for 5, 10, 15, and then 20 years. So in the 20 years, the total cash flow would be $1,860,000. Then you have to minus out the purchase price of the 15 property or the 16 properties that you have under management, right? The purchase price, you have to minus about $60,000 per property under management, and then you have to minus out the initial investment, and so that's where I get, and then we add in the equity. So that's where I get the $100.6 million. Sorry, $1.6 million. Said it wrong 3 times. $1.6 million is calculated by each property is worth about $100,000 times 16 properties gives us $1.6 million. And then we take the cash flow, and we minus out all the purchase price of the 16 different properties plus the initial investment, the $80,000, which gets returned to the capital investor. So our total cash flow is $820,000. You add those two together, you get $2.42 million in return of capital on an $80,000 investment. Now, this is just hypothetical. There's no taxes being taken out of this money, and there's several other expenses that might come up that are not calculated in this example. And this is just an ideal example of how the money could multiply from the $80,000 in cash. And we have other investment vehicles that you can roll your cash into to truly give you a lifetime of income. And we show you cash-free or tax-free vehicles as well that will reduce the amount of taxes that you pay on this cash flow. So if you're interested in learning more about this, I have a special link that I'm going to give you right here. I was trying to use a piece of software that put the title across the bottom, but that didn't work out for me in the last couple of videos. So write this down in the comments, and again, if you have any questions or comments, please do so. But the link is this: retireyounger.us / that's the little / call, C-A-L-L. That's right. retireyounger.us / call, and it will take you to a special page where you can set up a phone call with me personally, and I will talk you through additional information. We'll get to know you. You'll get to know us a little bit better and see if you qualify for these type of investments, or if you want to learn more about real estate investing in general. I'll be glad to answer any questions you have. And before I log off today, I want to see if there's any comments here. I don't see any comments live on the air. So I want to wish you a great day, and remember to get in on the next broadcast. I broadcast daily, usually sometime in the afternoon, after 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I'll be broadcasting. So subscribe to my channel. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and put your questions in the comments below so that I can answer them live on the air and help you along your investment process. The reason I do this is because each one of us needs to retire at some point in the future, right? Now, if you calculate the average income in the United States is $44,000 $4,000 a year. If you save 10% of that for 20 years, you would end up with about $80,000. And if you invested that $80,000 into a traditional, you know, index fund or something like that on the stock trading, then you would end up with about 6% return on that money. So you'd have about $160,000 at retirement. Now you have to take the taxes out of that money, which is between 30 and 50%, depending on when you use that money, right? Then you have to take that money and divide it over the number of years that you're going to be living. So let's do the math here, right? If you take, let's say it was $160,000, that's what you had left over after taxes. Now you divide that, that's going to be your income. Alright, so divide that over 10 years, divide that over 20 years, divide that over 30 years, divide that by 40 years. Because of advancements in health technology, we're living longer, and a good percentage of us are going to be living to we're 100 years old. So that being said, what kind of lifestyle is $160,000 divided by 10 years? Right? That's pretty good income. But now divided by 20 years, now it's a little less. Now divided by 30 years, that's a lot less. Right? So that's not going to be a lifestyle that you're going to want to live. And if you're counting on Social Security or some other vehicle like that, the maximum payment on Social Security is around $1,600 a month, and that's the maximum. So you're going to have to live on $1,600 a month. If you looked at the average cost of medicine today, one bottle of pills could be $100 or $200 just for one little bottle of pills. So $1,600 a month is not going to go very far when you have to buy food and pay for rent or other expenses that come out of that check. So that's going to do it for this video. Again, I'm going to make videos almost daily. Leave your questions below if you have any, and subscribe to this channel. Make sure you like this video, and it helps me get that message out there. There's over 4 million people every year moving into retirement. This is a very important issue for many of those people. Even if you're young, you should also consider how much money you're going to have in retirement, because if you're wasting 20 or 30 years of your life not saving up for retirement, it's really too late to do it in your later years. So that's going to do it for this video. Check out my other videos, and I'll see you in the next video.